All right, it is time now for our Caneswear Miami Hurricanes report. Yes, sir, Manny Diaz.
This is, for lack of a better word, this is a rebuild, right?
Yes, it's a rebuild. Okay, I don't know why he had to chime that in there. But anyway, every week we do our Caneswear Miami Hurricanes report here with Manny Navarro. You could follow him on Twitter at Manny_Navarro. And, of course, more importantly, go to Caneswear, baby. That's the reason why we have this segment every week. The folks at Caneswear, go see Brett and all the great people out there and get all your latest Canes gear, Dolphins, Marlins, Panthers, Heat, and even Inter Miami. It's a beautiful thing. Manny, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I can't complain, man. So tell me, are you surprised? Should Canes fans be very happy with the addition of Lashley?
I think they should be very happy with Lashley because he's one of the better young coordinators in the game. The whole situation with him at Auburn and he was there for 4 years, learning under Malzahn, and Malzahn's one of the better offensive coaches in all of football, and had a successful system that won him a national championship, ended up taking a step back going to UConn and SMU and having successful seasons there as coordinator. So to me, I'm a little surprised because, with how bad things have been in Miami going 6-7, I thought they would have to get somebody who other Power 5 schools were not interested in. And Lashley is somebody who was getting interest from Washington and a couple of other Power 5 programs, and in the end, Manny was able to get him to come in and be coordinator. Will he be the savior? That's an entirely different question. But I think, all things considered, where the season ended, 3 straight losses, 6-7, all the chaos that sort of ensued, I think it's very fortunate to get a guy like Rhett Lashley.
Okay, but I was excited about Dan Enos and what he did with Jalen Hurts and Tua and teaching those guys. And, he'll teach our guys, and we'll have great quarterbacking and all that. And that didn't come to fruition. That's my problem here. How am I supposed to get, excited about this when I don't know if the guy above him knows what he's doing?
Yeah, that's always going to be the issue. There's a lot to prove at the University of Miami these days. There's a lot of, what's the best way to describe it? Insecurity with what the future's going to be, right? You talk about, kind of Blake James and all the heat he's been getting from big donors and boosters and even people of the board of trustees, and then the fact that there could be a different president at the university, school president at the University of Miami in a few months. They need to have a really, really good 2020 season, or there may not be much of a future beyond that. I think there's going to be a lot of pressure on them to win and to not just beat the teams they're supposed to, but at least show up and not get embarrassed anymore. I think they have to show up and you can't have these losses anymore where you're like, well, how the hell did they lose to FIU? And how the hell did they lose to Duke? And how the hell did they – there can't be any of that this coming season because I think there's no patience for it in terms of the people who are leading the overall school. And it'll be interesting to see what happens with the new – whenever that new school president comes in and what they're going to want for the athletic program and what their vision is going to be, how that affects things with the entire Miami athletic department. But for right now, you got to go with what's there. And, again, Manny Diaz has a lot of kids in this next recruiting class who believe in him, who still believe in the program even through the losing. I talked to all of these kids quite a bit, and they really bought into Manny and what he was selling. And they really think that their arrival and their addition to the roster is going to change things. So we'll see. I think, they're going to need some help through the transfer portal. They're going to need some older guys. I think you definitely need to land a veteran receiver. And everybody keeps talking about, hey, you got to get that grad transfer quarterback. I would say you also need one at receiver. You need some offensive tackles. And you could use a little bit of help too, I think, in the secondary, in terms of having some veteran guys they're going to not allow for the breakdowns. So we'll see. We'll see what happens here. You got to give them till signing day, February, before you can really say, okay, this is what happened, and really have a good feel for what their team is going to look like.
When you talk about because I know Barry's been writing a lot about, the boosters and people like that are really, really pissed. What do you hear behind the scenes on all of that? Because obviously they can't be happy that they've come up with this whole Alonzo Highsmith thing, and we'll get to that in a minute. But the people around, how much pressure is now on Blake James? Because I would imagine that Blake James' ass is on the line now from here on out with Manny.
Well, what's happening? What my sense is that people who have been quiet for a long time, frustrated with football, have gotten the people in power and gotten their ear and started getting them to look at, hey, what has Blake James done with this football program in the 7 years he's been leading it? Yes, everybody was all excited about what Mark did in 2017. Mark Reed going 10-0 and being number 2 in the country, but everybody realizes now, hey, that really wasn't sustainable. I think, you start looking at this roster and you say, well, who was the last first-round pick? Who recruited that guy? It was Al Golden, David and Njoku. And you start looking and you say, well, who are the next first-round picks? Where's the talent on this roster?
Well, wait a minute. Hey, by the way, Njoku's a bust first-rounder so far.
Right.
It's okay.
Right.
So I know he made it in the first round, but right now Njoku is a major first-round bust right now because he is not playing. He hasn't even come close to producing first-round talent.
No, you're right. I mean, the guy was hurt all season, and whatever little flashes he's shown, he hasn't capitalized on. It hasn't been anything spectacular. But look, 4 first-round picks the entire decade. So wow. I just think, again, like I've come on the show and I've told you this many times. This is 15 years of frustration now, compounding all into one. This is a lot of years of, okay, when are we going to be good again? And I think people are finally sort of waking up. And the whole idea was, okay, well, you know what? Let's bring home one of our own. Let's bring home Alonzo Highsmith, who has been in the NFL for 20 years and has a really good eye for talent. How do we bring him in, and how does he help us recruit better and make the talent at the school better? And again, there's just, it's funny how people at the University of Miami think, we're just going to bring in one guy and he's going to solve everything.
Now, let me ask you, are you where I'm at? Like, that's like the stupidest idea in the world? Like,
yeah,
this, like, it's okay. All right. I just want to make sure we're at, because I find it, if you have to bring an Alonzo, okay, then you have the wrong coach, bro. Then you might as well just fire his ass. Because it's what you just were about to say. He's not going to help you in any of these areas. He can't coach and he can't recruit. That's not what it is. Lincoln Riley is 36 years old. Matt Rule is 44. They're both younger than Manny Diaz. And Matt Rule just got a head coaching job now in the NFL. Dude, if your 45-year-old coach can't run the program, then you hired the wrong guy, period. It's over.
To me, it all comes back to them trying to fix a problem the way that you don't fix it, right? Which is, let's just find alternatives. Well, we don't like the direction the program's going under Manny and Blake James, so we're going to bring in our football expert. We're going to bring in Alonzo Highsmith, and he'll fix it all. You're absolutely right. It starts with the head coach, starts with the athletic director. Those are the guys that are the power players in college athletics. And I think the whole thing was sort of envisioned as, well, we'll bring him in since we can't fire Manny after one season. We can't get rid of Blake because he got us this Adidas deal and we made all this money and we can't fire him just yet. And so it's kind of like this alternative, and everybody gets behind it. They get all excited. Well, we're going to bring in the former Canes, and Alonzo will be the first one, and then we can hire Ed Reed to be our DB's coach, and then it's like this thing just continues to permeate, right? It's the idea of the family is, let's bring in all these former players who are going to restore the U, and it's like, that's not how you're going to really fix this problem. And I think that's the funny thing, is that people don't really know football. You know football. You've been around it long enough. You've been around front offices and successful programs. You know how it's built. I've been covering this thing for 25 years. We've seen it when it's at its best, and it's not with bandages, right? You don't just throw a Band-Aid on it. It starts from the ground up. It's a foundational thing, and so to me, all along, it was just all of this was just a lot of hot breath, a lot of people getting excited over something that to me was never going to happen, which is why you didn't see me report over and over and over like everybody else has. At The Athletic, I didn't write 40 different stories about this because to me, it's a bunch of BS. This is not going to happen. And so, look, Manny Diaz is going to coach 2020. He's going to have a new offensive coordinator. And if you're a Miami Hurricanes fan, you hope that this recruiting class, his first full recruiting class, that is his talent evaluation, his talent people looking at this class are better than what Mark was. Is there any guarantee that's going to be the case? Absolutely not. But I will tell you, that from talking to a lot of these kids, I feel like they got smarter kids in this recruiting class. I feel like, I don't want to say that dumb kids is a problem that Miami's had last year, but it's certainly been a factor. I feel like a lot of these kids that they recruited are smarter. And I think that, I don't know, I'm excited about some of those guys. I want to see what they look like once they get a chance to get on the field. And I think, you still have to give Manny Diaz a second season to see if getting rid of some of those guys who weren't his, that he didn't recruit on the offensive side, makes a difference. And with a different system that everybody in college football is using now, all the successful teams anyway, a lot of them, let's see what they look like using that system. And so just have a little bit of patience. I know it sucks to be, mediocre for 15, 16 years, but it's like things don't get fixed overnight. You don't just hire Alonzo Highsmith and all of a sudden go to the college football playoffs. And I think fans have to get that out of their mind. They have to think that there's no quick fix to this if you're not going to fire the head coach and change the athletic director.
No, you're 100% right. Manny Navarro, of course, from The Athletic, joining us every week for our Caneswear Miami Hurricanes report. Get yourselves on down to Caneswear at 2511 South University Drive in Davie. Go see Brett and all the great people out there and tell them that we sent you. Manny, when you look at the quarterback position and the way Lashley coaches, who's the guy that is better suited to run this? If you had to take a guess, does he have that guy? Would you rather, might as well start with Van Dyke now since he's going to join the mix?
Well, I'm a believer, and based on the conversations I've had with guys that have now left the program, and family members of guys who have left the program, I'm a believer that they kind of need new leadership at that quarterback position. And while you can still give Jaron Williams and N'Kosi Perry a shot this spring to impress you, because that's what they ran was the spread and not the pro style offense. Right. I think that to me, philosophically, I think you do need some new blood in there. And I don't know if Tyler Van Dyke, from day one, it's really hard to ask any freshman to come in and start day one. Trevor Lawrence didn't do that. He was the backup the first few games before he took over at Clemson. So it's probably smart to go out and get a graduate transfer quarterback. I know that they've had some conversations with different guys. People have reported KJ Costello from Stanford, who's, I guess, the top transfer portal quarterback. Yep. But he's a guy who runs a pro-style system. He's very Brad Kaya-like, doesn't move a whole lot. And in this spread offense, probably, especially with this offensive line, he's a guy who can run for his life. And so I think, the more likely, Jet Duffy is one quarterback out of Texas Tech. Jamie Newman, the kid out of Wake Forest, had a really good year. Both of those guys, to me, are probably better fits for a Rhett Lashley system than KJ Costello. But again, I think Miami's at the point where, because of their failures on the field and everything else, it's going to me, them being the number one choice in the transfer portal, it's not necessarily, these other kids might have better options than they go to Miami. That's what I'm saying.
Right. No, I'm with you there. And then that will definitely delay everything else. Has anything changed for the better or for the worse recruiting-wise?
With who again? I didn't hear that.
Recruiting-wise, has anything changed since we spoke last week for the better or the worse?
Well, I mean, listen, they can't have any kids on campus till January 16th. So realistically, coaches have been texting and exchanging, messages with recruits on social media. They've definitely been looking to fill some needs. Again, offensive tackle, secondary, the quarterback transfer market. They've been looking at 2020 kids, 2021 kids, putting out offers for the younger kids. So I think you know, as far as it getting any worse, it hasn't gotten any worse. So nobody else is committed.
Good.
That's a good thing. And I think everybody's just sort of in a holding pattern here to see what's going to happen with the rest of the staff. What kind of changes is Lashley going to make? I was told that the assistant coaches come off vacation tomorrow. They've all had a little bit of time to relax. Will Lashley make changes to the offensive line and wide receiver positions, which is the guys who came in with Danny Enos? I think most people expect that, but I wouldn't say it's a 1,000% slam dunk going to happen. Lashley, I think he's bringing over a couple of quality control type coaches, analysts from SMU that have worked with him since his days in Connecticut and Auburn. And I think, I don't know that any of those guys are necessarily ready to be assistant coaches on a staff. We'll have to see what he decides here, but that's kind of what everybody's doing. Everybody's kind of a wait and see pattern of what's going to happen with the rest of the staff. I was told that the entire defensive staff will be coming back. I know there were rumors and reports out there that maybe he was going to fire Patkey and Rumpf, two guys on his defensive staff there. But I was told flatly that the defensive coaches were told they're all coming back. So, we'll see what Lashley decides here. And then I think after that, once they get back on campus, and they start recruiting and kids can come for visits, we'll have a better idea where they are recruiting.
Manny Navarro, of course, from The Athletic. Manny, what are you working on The Athletic on the Canes side there so folks can check you out?
Yeah, well, there's always stuff going on. Obviously a retrospective of what the 2019 season was. It's something I'm looking at, looking ahead as well to the depth chart. Do a sort of like a depth chart preview and then set up 2020 predictions. I got my fingers in a lot of different things, feature stories all the time, and I'm also going to try to take a little bit of time off here before things get crazy.
Oh, how dare you! How dare you!
Yeah,
you're not allowed to do that. George is not going to allow that. George wants 10 stories a day from you, okay? 10.
I know, but he also says, hey, you can take some vacation, too, when you can, because I didn't take any vacation last year. Except for a couple of days. I didn't really have a full week off, so he's just trying to use that vacation. So we'll see. We'll see if I can use that here in a couple of weeks here.
And by the way, it's really easy to write a preview or a recap of the 2019 season. Just put Clubber Lang's face there, and it just says pain. That's it, bro. That's all. In
fact, might be my shortest story of the year.
In fact, let's recap the Canes' last 15 years. Clubber Lang, pain. That's it, bro. That's all you need right there.
That's all you need. You're absolutely right, man.
It's a beautiful thing.
No, I hope listeners get a chance to check out some of the podcasts we did over the weekend. I did one with Chris Benini, who works for The Athletic. He spent some time with Brett Lashley at SMU. Chris Benini covers Group of 5 schools for The Athletic and had some insight on Lashley. And so that was our last podcast for the Wide Right Pod, which is available for free on iTunes.
Without giving too much, did he have a positive point of view of him?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
cool.
I
think that's one thing about Lashley that I think is really important is that he's very well liked throughout college football. He's also a very good recruiter in terms of the state of Georgia and not Georgia, Texas. That's where he's kind of based out of. He actually is a Arkansas guy. Grew up in Arkansas, played for Malzahn in high school, and then was a walk-on at Arkansas. And he's very well connected, very well liked by a lot of people in the coaching community. Whereas I think Manny, and how rough a relationship it was for him there with some of the players. I think that's part of the reason why I think he's hired is more a guy who's going to get along with the players and get them motivated and excited to play for him. I think towards the end, Danny, he just sort of ran out of patience with a lot of these guys and was chewing them out behind the scenes and causing issues, which, you know what? Some of these guys have to be coached hard, right? Because they weren't getting the job done. But I think, in today's age, the one thing I hear from a lot of guys is, these players are a lot different from the ones that you and I grew up watching. Oh, I mean, it's a different game in terms of getting them to be motivated and to play for you, and they kind of have to feel like you care about them versus you wanting the best for them as a player. They gotta feel like
dude. Hey, let me tell you, for a short time when I was running that station, I had to deal with a couple of these millennials and Generation Zs. Oh my Lord, they wouldn't last 5 minutes with my parents. Are you kidding me, bro? Come on. I mean, we're used to parents that used to send you to hell like really quick, but it was just because they were pissed at that moment. But you knew that they were pissed at that moment, and 3 minutes later, it would be completely different. You scream at these millennials and these Generation Zs, they take it personal, and they take everything literal, and they carry it with them like luggage for the rest of their lives. And it's like, dude, get over it. It's just whatever. You blurted something out, it's over. It's under the bus. That's what is it, water off the back or something. Let it go. They don't let it go, dude. They don't let it go. They are sensitive.
And to think that's one of the theme songs of their generation, right? From Frozen, Let It Go. They can't do that.
Yeah. They, man, I tell you. But, hey, did you talk with him about the situation where Malzahn took the reins away from him as offensive coordinator, and what was his thoughts on that in Auburn?
No, we didn't get to all of that. We kind of talked a lot about just how the offense is structured, why he likes to be on the sideline, all those kind of things. We had about a 15, 20-minute conversation, but just like right now, you think of questions after you hang up, right? That definitely would have been a good one to ask about why things didn't work out at Auburn. But again, I think the thing with Lashley is that he's just viewed as somebody who's very smart, adaptive, and then being with Sonny Dykes for the last 2 years at SMU. Sonny Dykes, of course, comes from the air raid system, which is different from what obviously Malzahn runs. The one thing you like about him, that I like about him, and I think most people in Miami like about him, is he utilizes the tight ends really well, and that's a position of strength for Miami. And then the running backs. I mean, SMU, for all of the plays that they ran the ball more than they threw it last year. And I think people automatically think spread, well, he's throwing the ball on the field. No, this dude runs a balanced offense, which is good. You need balance to win no matter what system you use in football. If you're too run heavy or too pass heavy, you make yourself susceptible to getting beat and the defense picking up on your habits. And I think this guy and his offense is very well balanced, which is another reason Manny Diaz liked him and wanted him.
Follow him on Twitter. Always informative, always breaking news, great insight on the Canes, and you can catch him every week here on Tuesdays at 1 o'clock. He is Manny Navarro on Twitter, Manny_Navarro. Catch his work at The Athletic as always. Manny, you are the best, my brother. Thank you for taking some time.
Thanks for having me on, and take care. We'll talk soon.
You got it, baby. Be good. There you go, the great Manny Navarro. Love it. Joining us here on the program. Yes, sir. All right. Let's do this. Let's take a quick break. Then we'll come back on the other side. We'll reset. We'll get ready. We'll get into this final half hour here before we go to Brian Howell at the top of the hour from the Boulder Daily Camera. He covers the Colorado Buffaloes. Yes. And the Colorado Buffaloes have a quarterback that is coming into the draft. His name is Steven Montez. A project guy, a guy that's going to go in the third day. Maybe Miami takes him. I'm not sure, but we are having our own draft profile on all the different quarterbacks. What I wanted to do is we'll have more of this as we get closer to the draft, but we'll have draft experts then. What I wanted to do, and it's what we've been doing for 2 weeks now, this is our third week doing it, we're bringing on beat writers that are part of these teams where these quarterbacks are coming out of, LSU, Alabama. And I wanted to get it fresh. These people just finished covering the season. So everything is fresh on what went on. And so I wanted to talk to the people around these quarterbacks that are coming in. And we've done it for Jake Fromm, for Jacob Eason, for Jordan Love, for Tua, for Burrow, for Nate Stanley, for, who was it yesterday? It was the
kid from Utah State.
Oh, it was Jordan Love. Okay,
Jordan Love.
And then this is our 7th one then now, which is what's it called? Montez is going to join, Steven Montez. So that's our 7th QB profile that we've done already into week 3. And we'll try to cover it'll be about, I don't know, I think there's maybe 3 or 4 more that are left here that we're going to go after. And remember, next week, Bill and I will be over at the East-West Shrine game, where there's going to be 6 quarterbacks there that we'll get to see personally, and we'll have some of them on too, plus other players, other positions. The Dolphins need all kinds of positions, so we will talk about that, and we'll start talking about some of the guys there that are catching my eye, sleepers and all that. That kind of talk will start next week on the program, and then the following week we're at the Senior Bowl, which, again, is going to have a whole bunch of quarterbacks and people that you are definitely going to want to hear from as a Dolph fan. All right, let's take a quick break. On the other side, we'll take your comments on the accidentlawfirm.com text line, 786-322-1105. Whenever you're listening to the podcast, send us a text on the accidentlawfirm.com text line, 786-322-1105. You have a suggestion, you have a comment, you have a question, you have an insult, you have a compliment. We get those every once in a while. Send it in. You want to be a part of the program. You want to be one of our great sponsors. Also, you can do that on the accidentlawfirm.com text line, 786-322-1105, or on Twitter at Big O Show. Chime in on the YouTube chat board. Back with more right here on The Big O Show. All right, baby. We're back. We take you, of course, till about, about 3 or something, 2:30, 2:45, something like that. We'll go if you want to get in. You can chime in on the YouTube chat board. Let me see what we got on the YouTube chat board.
You can pick a time anytime.
Yes.
You're the boss.
Yeah, well, what can I tell you? Michael Mitchell Jr. says Cristobal would give this same team ranked top 10 with first-round picks. Well, unfortunately, we don't have Mario Cristobal here, my brother. I can't tell you anything about that. He also says Jaron needs the transfer. Richard says, shouldn't there be a limit on how many years the jersey stays retired? A lot of these players were not even on board when Greasy or Marino played. Yeah, but so what are we supposed to do? When they die, we then activate the number again? Is that what we're supposed to do? So we can just erase their memory? That's kind of cold and cruel, dude. That's, no, I don't think you do that. Maybe what you do is you stop retiring numbers. So that way you don't have that problem anymore. Like the Yankees stopped retiring, right? The Yankees stopped retiring numbers, right? Huh, Bill? Didn't the Yankees stop retiring numbers now?
No.
No, they're still doing it? They're still doing it? Oh.
Yes.
What, do they have any numbers left?
The last one, well.
What, are they going to add decimals now?
Remember, Robinson was retired 42. Mariano Rivera was actually the last one to wear 42. There's 2 42s retired.
Because they retired Jeter, right?
Jeter, yes, he did have his ceremony.
Have to have a retirement for Jeter.
And I think there's only one single digit left. That would be Joe Torre, 6.
Right.
It's just a matter of time before that is retired. No more single digits.
Wow. All right. I got to tell you, that's kind of weird, man. That what the Yankees have 8,000 players retired. They probably have no numbers left. Now they'll go for 2.5 now. You're not 2, you're 2.5.
The Yankees were the first to put numbers on a team's jersey. They were the first to retire a jersey, that, of course, being Lou Gehrig on July 4th.
Right.
And is number 4.
It's crazy stuff, man. Crazy stuff. All right. I wouldn't do that. Any number you retire, I'd keep it retired. If you're young and you don't know about it, well, then learn, man. Read. There are numbers that were retired before I got into sports, right? And you got to – I don't know if young people, on average, I think there are some, but young sports fans, how many of them do they actually take the time to learn about their sport, like the history, or they just keep up with what's going on? I almost get that feeling sometimes from a lot of young people that when they're into sports, they're into the guys that are current, but they don't really take the time to read up on the past. It happens.
Well, the millennials, after they're born, time before that doesn't exist.
Right. That's kind of that's kind of weird because we grew up trying to absorb the past and learn it, and With baseball cards, we were learning the past. Right? That's kind of what it was with a baseball card. You were like in the back, you were, young people have no idea what I'm talking about. But the older guys out there, they know what the hell I'm talking about because you would get the baseball card of any player and you would try to memorize their stats. Okay? That was just a thing because you want to know about the past. And for me, that's, I'm kind of a historian of football. I didn't see the AFL. Okay, I was born when the AFL was going on, but that doesn't mean that I really was watching the AFL. But I can tell you a lot about the AFL, a ton about the AFL. I probably know way too much about the AFL. And it's a league that died before I even got to really know about football. But that's part of who I am. That's not me. That's how my generation grew up of sports fans. And it just doesn't seem like that now. So you would get questions like you got from Richard that you wouldn't get a question like that 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago. Nobody would do that because you cherish everything about your team, the history on top of all of that. So think about it. If you're the Dolphins and the only thing you have is history, how are you going to start erasing it?
You'll erase yourself from existence if you do that, man.
That 13 doesn't matter anymore. It's the new 13 that matters. No, dude, I'm not going there. Sorry, no.
That's one of the reasons I like the Bears, because of the history George S. Halas starting the NFL.
Of course.
How he swindled it, a couple players from Green Bay back in the day, and they were the Chicago Staleys and became the Chicago Bears.
Right. Had the Cardinals there, too.
You think about music.
Chicago,
we wanted to know all about the Beatles and Led Zeppelin and stuff. These kids, no, man. It's from the time they were born, stuff before that, it doesn't exist.
That's the impression I get. I'm not saying all of them are like that, but
correct, yes.
But, man, do I run into a lot of them that are like that. And I'll tell you this. This is etched in stone. It is money in the bank. I'm telling you, okay? NFL players, half of them don't know the history of the game. Most of you out there know more than NFL players about the history of the game, the players that came before, what they accomplished. Most of these young guys, they know nothing about the history of the NFL. That is 1,000% true. I used to see it all the time. And I'm there like, wow, how do you not know about the history of your sport? That kind of stuff. Every time they get to the Dolphins, they know nothing about the Dolphins. And they got to learn about who Zonka is. They might know Marino. Maybe, if they're lucky. They won't know Duper and Clayton. It's weird, right?
I can remember a story. Ray Lewis there with the linebackers practicing whatever before the game, doing drills. And Dick Butkus is there. And he asked these guys, his players, hey, do you know who that is? Not one of them knew who Dick Butkus was, and he got pissed.
Of course. Yeah. Absolutely
furious.
Of course. And I'm not surprised that that's the case. Happens all the freaking time. It's just one of those deals, man. What are you going to do? And that's why people would bring up like, hey, well, let's just forget the past. You're too old already to have that number. What the hell is that, man? That's crazy. Yeah. So that's it's funny that somebody would bring something like that up. I never thought I would address something like that. But hey, listen, you do radio long enough, you'll probably address a lot of things, right? Did you guys see Antonio Brown? Oh, man. Antonio Brown. We know he's a clown, that Antonio Brown. So Antonio Brown now, he went out of his way to trash his lawyers and his agent, former agent, Drew Rosenhaus. So Antonio Brown, his lawyer, removed himself from the case in which he's being sued for condo damages, right? So Darren Adam Heitner says, looking for someone who regularly handles landlord-tenant disputes in Miami-Dade. Would be to represent high-profile athlete-tenant in dispute over damages to property and alleged inability to relet property. If interested, then please email me at darrenheitnerlegal.com. I will pass along your information to the athlete's manager. Full disclosure, I am withdrawing from the case based on monies outstanding, so I suggest requiring upfront payment if interested. Case provides good exposure, and I think the facts of the case are promising. But he doesn't pay. I mean, this is like a straight out, like, this is normal for this clown. He like wants you to work and then doesn't pay you. I mean, I've run into people in radio that do that. They want you to work and then they don't want to pay you. And then you got to chase their broke asses around for the money that you'll never end up getting because they're thieves and they're pieces of crap and they're garbage. Think about this. The lawyer's looking for another lawyer to take over the case. Case provides good exposure. I think the facts in the case are promising. But I'm withdrawing from the case based on monies outstanding. So I suggest requiring upfront payment if interested. You know, the moron doesn't realize that in the long run it will cost you more money like this if you keep losing lawyers and hiring another one and hiring another one. But this guy, he doesn't pay anybody. And so then he went on, Antonio, to then post on Twitter, this lawyer I got through Rosenhaus Sports seems like Drew screws players over just like he did Terrell Owens. Going to share some real info. Subscribe to my Vivo channel. So in the midst of all this, he wants you to subscribe to his Vivo channel to give you like real straight info. This guy is, I mean, he is beyond being a clown. This guy is truly, the level of ignorance of Antonio Brown is, wow, it's amazing. It really is, because you've got to be incredibly ignorant to not realize how much damage you have inflicted on yourself professionally. And the amazing part is that the idiots at the NFL are still trying to sign him. Maybe, I don't know if by now they've given up, but up until about 2 weeks ago, he was still a wanted man in the NFL until that latest incident that was like, okay, well, maybe we'll all back off now.
I think we had heard that the Saints,
the Saints.
were working.
Well, they brought him in for a workout, yeah. Yeah. I mean, Antonio Brown, dude. Seriously. I know where this story ends. It ends broke, and it ends that he'll be in all kinds of trouble, and because that's where he's headed. I mean, he's too stupid to understand when he has sexually assaulted a woman, and then he continues to push that envelope. He's too stupid to realize how he's pissed off teams and coaches and players. He's too stupid to realize that the way he goes about business is as unprofessional as it gets. And when you're too stupid to realize all of that, you got some serious problems, Lucy. I mean, wow. Dude, what is wrong with you? Are you serious?
Is he the top out there wide receiver that we've seen so far? Is he like, number one?
In the crazy train. In the Ozzy Osbourne crazy train.
The funniest one was the Eagles situation and Terrell, and then the helicopters and him being out there work. You know, you didn't want to talk to anybody. Leave me alone.
Right.
Then he goes out there in front of his carport and does sit-ups and plays basketball.
Right. No, but I don't know if Terrell Owens is crazy. I think he's more immature than anything else, because Terrell doesn't assault women.
No.
Say whatever you want about Terrell Owens, dude.
Right.
Okay,
Yes.
Terrell Owens is a decent citizen. All right, he doesn't hurt people. He's hurt himself, right? You know what I mean?
Yes.
But he's not a criminal, bro. He's not a bad dude in that sense. He's a bad teammate. That's all you can ever say about him. You know what I mean? So we can't put him in the same class. I mean, I'll go as far as Alfred Oglesby saying that he got, taken by Martians to Shula. That's closer to Antonio Brown than anything T.O. did. You know what I'm saying? So that's where, on the crazy train, Antonio Brown is right up there. You would have to get to the sadder stories of people that have taken their lives or something like that. But, yeah, it has to be, your boy, the Bears, lineman, he was crazy. He lined up one day. No, he was a running back. Enos. He lined up in a fur coat.
Enos.
He came. Enos. Was it James Enos? No, that's James Ennis for the basketball player. It was Enos. What was Enos's name? His first name? Penn State, right?
Was it Curtis?
Curtis Enos. Penn State, right? I want to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was in that streak of failed Penn State guys, right? The Jets had the guy that was from Penn State right before you guys.
The Bears had a run of 3 or 4 running backs that were supposed to be that never.
No. But I'm saying this was the Penn State run. It wasn't all Bears running backs for Penn State.
Was part of that,
right? And then the guy for the Jets was too in that streak, and there were like 3 guys in that streak. And I know the Jets and you guys got one, but anyway, so. I believe the story is Curtis Enos came to practice and that lined up and had a fur coat on. That's crazy. Like
hanging out on the sideline, Joe Namath style.
Yeah.
That's one thing, but actually
Lawrence Taylor showed up in handcuffs, but he was more of a criminal, not crazy. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't know what extremes we're going to now. It's just different there.
So there's crazy, and then there's just people that are just criminals.
Right, and then there's just immature, and that's T.O. Right? Because T.O.'s never done any crimes, dude. It just we never ever can put him in that category. It's not who he is. We can bitch and complain about everything he did on the field, acting like an idiot at times, or with his teammates, or whatever, or teams, but that. We can never put Terrell Owens in that group of being, a criminal or anything bad like that. Antonio Brown, there's a lot of examples. And there's no doubt that guy's crazy. You get that. That's the feeling you get from him. Está loco, chico. That's just, that's the impression that it leaves you every single time. But anyway, there you go. That's the latest with Antonio Brown. He just, social media, this guy needs to learn to just shut up and go away. Seriously. If he would have shut up and go away right from the get-go, he would have already been playing. He would have overcome everything. If he just would have shut up, paid that woman off, everything would have been swept under the rug, just like the Steelers, which, by the way, the Steelers are mob-like. Seriously. How they kept that dude under wraps all these years. Wow. Mike Tomlin,
That's a really good point, man.
Mike Tomlin, my man.
None of this got out.
Wow. Because he had to have been acting like an ass over and over, and apparently he was. But they were able to just mask it, man, and get by and use the talent to win. And then I guess it got to a point where it was completely out of control, and they couldn't even, Now when I see a troubled player and the Steelers draft him, I'm going to say, well, they kind of made it work with Antonio Brown for a while. Maybe they can milk this situation for a while. But whatever it is they were doing, that's impressive. I got to tell you. I mean, yeah, it's mob-like, bro. How do you make the guy productive and keep them away from hurting society. You know what I mean? And then they got to a point where they couldn't keep him away anymore, and then that's it. They had to, well, we're out now. That's it. He's assaulting people, and we're out. We're done. It's one thing if you don't want to pay people. I would tell Antonio Brown, hey, get into radio. There are people like you that don't like to, they like to hire and not pay people. Antonio Brown actually belongs in radio. This probably would be the best situation for him. They're crazy in radio. Kind of goes with it. That's why I always tell kids when they're studying in this business, I tell them, whatever you do, don't get into radio. Whatever you do, don't get into radio. The worst business ever. It's not even close. Don't. It'll shorten your life. All right, 786-322-1105. That's 786-322-1105 if you want to get in on the program. And, of course, we're proudly brought to you by the Vape and Smoke Shop in West Pines. Hey, tell them that Big O sent you, and they'll take care of you. Call them 954-613-3367. 10 to 20% off the entire store. All right? So mention Big O Show. Whether you're looking for coals, for shisha, whatever it is you're looking for. Hey, listen, they've got it for you. Cannabis plants, they've got them. Is hemp legal? Yes, it is, folks. They've got CBD there. It's legal in all 50 states. They've got CBD from hemp, which was legalized in 2018 Farm Bill. And, of course, the CBD hemp has also been removed from CSA, which is Controlled Substance Act, making a straight distinction between marijuana and hemp. And if you're looking for some of the best, you got to go, of course, to VSS West Pines. Again, call them 954-613-3367. You can follow them on social media, VSS West Pines. And when you go, mention us, and you get 10 to 20% off at VSS West Pines. At the top of the hour, in just a couple of minutes, we are going to talk to Brian Howell from the Boulder Daily Camera. He covers the Colorado Buffaloes, and quarterback Steven Montez is coming into the NFL draft. Let's talk about Montez next, right here on the Big O Radio Show.